So let's talk about appointment setter show up rates. And I want to talk about how focusing on these few things at the end of your call, really understanding what it is you're selling as an appointment setter when you're doing these triage calls can make a massive difference to how many of your prospects actually show up to that call with the closer. So starting off with one of the biggest problems I see with a lot of appointment setters and why their show up rate is so low is because of their focus. They're so focused on selling the service. They're so focused on trying to get the prospect to be convinced that, hey, you need our help in terms of buying our product. They're so focused on the offer itself. And in my opinion, although you do want to have some of that on the call, if that's the sole focus, people aren't going to show up because you're just selling too far ahead. As an appointment setter, and just in sales in general, you want to sell step by step. And your job as an appointment setter is to sell the very next step, which is getting them to show up on the call, excited for the call, ready to speak with the closer, understanding that the closer is an authority on the subject matter, someone that can help them. So appointment setters, I want you to ask yourself, how often are you just selling the service and saying, hey, with our help, you can do this. With our help, you can do that. With our help, we're going to achieve this, this, and that. How often are you just solely focusing on that? And how often are you selling the next step, which is the value of the call, which is the authority of the closer that they'll be speaking to? How often are you getting people excited for what is actually going to take place on the call? When I say selling the call, what do I mean? That means you could sell the fact that on the call, they're going to receive clarity on their bottlenecks, clarity on the support that they need to achieve their goals, that they're going to get help with the decision-making process from someone who's experienced in helping people in this kind of on this topic. And they're going to have someone that's going to be able to guide them through the decision-making process and point them in the right direction, right? So how often are you both selling the value of the call and selling the closer that they're going to be speaking to in terms of having your prospects show up to that call, not just assuming that they're just getting on with another closer, another sales guy, right? You want your prospects showing up to that call, seeing them as the doctor that's going to diagnose their problems and really, truly help them, right? Now, I'm not saying you don't want to get them excited for the service at all. I'm not saying you don't want them to, that you don't want to sell the offer, but you should be doing a combination of both. And if you're solely just focused on getting them excited to join the program, you're skipping them so far ahead. You're like skipping them past the closer call. And then when they get off the call, they're nervous. They're like, man, this guy's like, most of these people that you're going to be talking to aren't even ready to necessarily buy yet, right? They need to, that's why they're getting on with the closer. If they were ready to buy, if they had made that decision to buy, they would just buy with you. They would have just bought, but they're not ready to buy. And that's why they want to get on with a closer to help them with that decision-making process. So if your sole focus on that triage call is like, buy, hey, get on this call so you can buy, they're going to feel that energy. They're going to feel that that's the kind of terminology you're using. And that's what you're saying. And that's what you're trying to get across. And they're like, okay, well, I'm just going to get on this closer call. And their focus is really to just force me to buy rather than to have a conversation and see if I'd even be a good fit or even make sense. Then they're just not going to show up to the call. There's times where it makes sense based on how far along the prospect is, but there's a big chunk of calls that are probably not showing up because they're feeling like you're rushing the process. You're jumping too far ahead, and they think it's just an info gathering call. They don't see the value of actually showing up to that call. So setters, sell the value of the call, sell the authority of the person they're going to be speaking to. Like, hey, you're going to be getting on with John. Dude's an expert, knows so much about e-commerce businesses. He's, talked to so many 7-figure business owners and helped them scale, whatever you do, just like sell the value of the person that they're on. Hey, he's going to be able to help you. He's going to be able to break it down and see exactly what might make sense when it comes to working together. Help them realize that the call is going to give them some kind of value, and that the person that they're speaking to is someone who's not just a salesperson, but someone who is knowledgeable on the subject matter, is an authority on the subject matter. It can actually help point them in the right direction. That's it. That's all. Hope you enjoyed this little rant. See you guys in the next thing that is put out on here. Later.